Welcome to the next installment of the most popular podcast you've ever seen, Between the Scripts with Jonathan Shuffield. That's all about the amazing web series, Almost Not Quite. And today we are welcoming actor Effie Cacarnakis to, I would say the couch, but to his outside patio.
Hey, everybody. Hi from
How
the
are
patio.
you, sir?
I'm good. Considering what we're all dealing with, I'm doing pretty well. You know?
No, I'm not, but I think us actors fake it well. Like inside, I'm a hot mess, but to the world, I'm just happy.
Yeah. You know, I heard today someone was saying something about coronavirus fatigue or COVID fatigue. And, you know, like, we're fine. We're going to get through it. And then, you know, they're like, no, it's never going to end. Give me ice cream.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you read the news in the mornings. And like, I read the news this morning. They're like, California breaks all records, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm not going to read that. Let's just close.
I'm not accepting that information today.
No. And why bother? It's the same. I was talking to our co-star, Reed, this morning, and he said, you know, I give up looking at it. Let's just all hunker down till the vaccine comes out. I just don't need to know anymore. So I'm like,
yeah,
there you go.
Well, yeah. You know, we don't have much control other than our immediate surroundings.
Exactly. So, but hey, vaccines are coming our way. I'm a hopeful man. So,
well, fingers crossed.
Yes. Let's get down to why everybody is here, which is our fun little show that we're on. Let's start with, you know, like we told everybody, your name is Effie Cacarnakis, and why don't you tell us who you play, and like a little synopsis of your understanding of him.
So I play Luke the fireman. I like saying it that way just because I think it's adorable that he's a fireman and he really loves being a fireman. But I think, to me, Luke is just a really sweet, good guy who's gone probably through all the ups and downs that a lot of us went through in our 20s and 30s, maybe even our 40s, and is just now in a place where he's really comfortable with who he is. He loves his job. He loves Johnny, and he knows that that's the right relationship for him now. And so it's more kind of, I think his sort of stage in life is he's kind of in that nesting stage. You know, I don't think he's the kind of guy that wants to go out and party necessarily or is trying to climb some kind of career ladder. He's just pretty happy with where things are and wants to kind of keep that all safe and contained. So.
And it is fascinating. We're about to, everybody should always tune in, but we're about to learn a lot more about Luke and where he came from and his struggles. But it is every time I look at your character, I think he is like the top 2% that ever get to that stage in life where they're okay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And you bring a stability to him that we're lucky because, I mean, I mean, the whole show, I think what's fascinating is the whole show is based on we're all almost where we think we should be, but not quite. So we're never, and Luke is just where he wants to be.
Yeah.
So he's this very odd, but you bring him to life very well. And so I want to start with also how you heard about the role and what made you decide you wanted to audition for the role.
Well, I mean, I was doing what a lot of actors do and just kind of going through the casting notices and just happened upon it and took a look just because it, you know, when something actually fits all of your parameters that are set up in some of these things and it checks all the boxes and it actually makes sense. So I just read through it and read a little bit of what was there about the story and Luke's background and kind of what was kind of implied about how he grew up and who he is, and it kind of just spoke to me as a little bit of the way that I grew up, and it just felt right. I guess that sounds odd to say, but it just kind of felt like the right thing to just submit to that. You know, sometimes you find some and you think, well, maybe, I
Yeah.
could, if I really tried hard, or if I really got into it, or shaved my head, or
Right.
convinced them,
Yeah.
but it just really felt like a natural extension of who I am.
Yeah.
And so just went with that. And then, that it just, I don't know, it just really felt meant to be.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, it just felt like I'm meant to be Luke. And that's how I heard about it and what I did. And,
Yeah.
and then was excited to hear back when I got the call to audition. It was very exciting.
I never know who knows what, because I talk a lot, but there were a few hundred people who submitted for the character of Luke. We were overwhelmed when we announced. And then, so I think in the beginning there were 1,700 overall, with each role kind of, varying. But I remember it was so hard. First of all, you're all excited, and I got all of you guys' tapes. And then by the 200th, your eyes are bleeding. And you're like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But what's so fun is we narrowed you guys down to 5 of you came in person. And what was fascinating, so I don't know if you remember your audition at all, but there was myself.
Pieces of it.
Yeah, there was myself, there was our cinematographer was there, Leo, who co-writes with me, and then of course, Sergei Grankin, who plays Todd, was in there as well.
That's okay.
Yeah. Oh,
he told me we had already met, and now, okay, that puts it together.
Yeah, he came in because he this was going to be a show 7 years ago, so he was cast in the original cast. But anyway, so he was there to see it was there, and I have to say, you came in, and out of, I think there were 5 of you who went for your role in person, you were so comfortable, you delivered. It took me off guard because I sat with you to read, and then you left, and they were like, what the hell just happened to you? And I'm like, I don't know, it was just weird because you didn't feel like you were acting, you felt like you were just there, and I think I wasn't ready for that. So they're all like, so that's when we knew the minute you left. And they were like, your reaction to him was just so natural, like a real thing. So I mean, I like to give little tidbits in these interviews I get to do, but we knew when you left.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really flattering because I was just such a mess about the whole thing, and just because you feel when you feel like it's meant to be, this is the right thing. It's just clicking in your mind and kind of in your heart, and then so when you go in, you're like, come on, it's just see the vision with me here.
Exactly. Go down this road. Well, it worked out really well, obviously. And so we cast it, a few hundred people. It came down to you, and you were our guy. And then we do the table read. So we have it on the rooftop of where I'm living, and we're going to shoot this show. And then all hell breaks loose, and the whole, everything shuts down, and we can't shoot our show. And so in a matter of 3 days, I decided I'm going to try to convince all of you actors to do this little Zoom. Let's just do a little mini interim on Zoom, and all of y'all were in it. Let's talk about what it's like. You're an actual working actor. You go out and you actually do stuff. And then the world has changed. You're on this new web series, and we're going to do it in a completely different way because we don't have a choice. What was it like as you're trying to process, this is how we have to do it now?
Well, I mean, I think at first it was kind of, we were all just in that weird, what's going on? What does this all mean? We had to go pick up and move our daughter out of college because the school shut down, and, and then the city was going into lockdown, and, in the middle of everything. So I think it was just kind of this, I don't know, maybe like a mourning period when we finally all communicated and found out that it wasn't going to happen. And it was just, we were just right there to make it happen. And then, no. So I think there was definitely that kind of just, mourning that loss of whatever was about to begin. And then, but then when you suggested, let's do these little together apart Zoom episodes, of course, it is, it just felt why not? I mean,
right.
This is what we were going to spend our time doing together anyway. Right. And in the middle of what's going on, locked up at home, why not do something creative and productive, and other than watching, news reels over and over and over again.
No, I know. I keep thinking, honestly, and I don't know I haven't figured out how to phrase this, but COVID has afforded a horrible time, has afforded us a time to explore the characters, a time to, my biggest concern in directing ensembles is I love ensembles. I love seeing the way people connect. But we couldn't. Now in theater, you connect your actors. You do exercises. You get them in LA. You show up to set and hope you're all good enough to pretend you know each other and like each other. But we've been afforded this time to actually get some bonding in, and to understand. What do you think? What has any part of your process differed because of how we have to do it right now, or any part of getting to know Luke?
Well, I think, first I had to kind of let go of some of the things I had already in my mind decided before my auditions about Luke and this whole story I had made up for him.
Yeah.
And then once we started doing some of the scenes and talking and, I learned the reality of what is really the background and what's going on. But not far off. I was close.
Yeah, you were. But you did have like a novel.
Oh yeah, pages and pages and pages. I mean,
which I love.
The kind of house he lived in as a kid, what his family was like, the kind of house he wants to have,
Right.
Well, what his finances were like even. I mean, a little bit of detail.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it is just kind of that flying by the seat of your pants kind of thing, because we aren't together, like you said, like in theater, we'd be together for hours, kind of hashing it out, rehearsing some scenes, going back to other stuff, discussing just different parts, on background or whatever. And then we just don't have that because we still have these lives going on in the midst of all this stuff. And it's only through video or text message.
Yeah.
And so it does feel a little disconnected sometimes, but I think we work it out. We make it happen. There's definitely something to trying to do all of this while your family is running around in the background and the dogs and the room dog is vacuuming and
Yes.
My husband's in the other room trying to do his Zoom meetings. We're all on the same Wi-Fi network and everyone's slowing everyone else down. The kids are complaining because they can't play their video games. It's,
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I think it lends to Luke is, of course, basically trapped in the firehouse. So life is hectic for him. And I think your world just lends to it. My favorite is when we shoot and the dogs want to be part of it.
Oh my God. And they're just like, they could be dead asleep, not paying attention to a thing all day long.
Yeah.
And then the second they just start hearing someone else's voice that they don't recognize, and then what's going on?
Yeah. Yep. What they do is they know when the camera goes on, and they're like, "Oh, it's our time.
Yeah.
It's time to start it." I respect the dog issues. As you have gotten to know Luke a little more, like you said, we finally I had meetings with each of you in the main cast, and so we finally got to talk about, like we just talked about and I'm telling you, you people don't understand. You are the most researched actor ever, because you had it all. And I always say this to people when I'm talking about the show. One of my favorite things is you always have 8,000 questions, which is my favorite thing about directing, because I love character. That's the kind of director I am. I want to dig in and so you always have 8,000 questions about it. And so we finally get to do this. And you're getting to part of it. It's a collaboration of sorts too, because like I wanted to take some ideas that you had, see what we could incorporate into it. And so you end up, now we're at 23 episodes in, and don't plan to stop until either you guys go on strike or we can get in person and shoot this show. you know, to keep it going. So you're getting to know Luke more and more every scene you shoot. What is it about Luke that you enjoy, or even some things that you're like, wow, I would kill him. But what is it about getting to know Luke that you have found surprising and that you like?
Well, I mean, I think just some of Luke's background that I hadn't even thought about, you know, like just kind of like the religious aspects of how he grew up, things like that. I have similar backgrounds, but not to that extreme, obviously. So that, you know, and I guess I just, I mean, one of the things that I think I appreciate most about Luke is we talked about this already. He is very comfortable in who he is, and there is something very appealing about someone who is kind of serene and calm, not lazy. He's not a slacker. He's just almost a little zen in a way, and that's not how I am usually. I'm a little more, you know, type A minus, hectic, you know. I like to say that I live my life in a panicked mess. You know, that's how that's about the mode I operate in. But you know, I feel like that's one of the things that's kind of appealing about him, and just that he is such a good guy. I feel like sometimes you start watching a show or a film and someone that you like for some reason, and then they're not exactly a good person, or it all crumbles down. There's some sinister thing. And sometimes it's okay to have a character who actually just turns out, just a good guy.
Right.
He's not a bad person. Made mistakes in his past, and it's just fine. It's all, you know, there's been some kind of peace, you know, atonement made, and it's all good. Right. But I'm trying to think if there's anything I don't like about Luke. I would say in the beginning of these scenes that we started doing, these COVID-isodes, you know, the kind of lack of confrontation between him and Sam in certain things, I feel like he was just, you know, like, just let it out, man. Just tell her to shut up and she sucks. So, and there you go. There. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, we might have to relocate. So
far, I can barely hear it, but this is not surprising.
Okay. So I think I'm going to slowly transition us inside, because there's leaf blowers and things.
I love it. We can transition. Do you want me to see? So I believe we were on the getting to know Luke part.
Yes. And I was trying to think of what I either was surprised about or wasn't necessarily fond of. Just that, you know, it kind of just kills me, like the way you see certain characters on shows and that you really have an affinity for, and you just see them kind of getting poked at and beaten up and talked down to over and over again, and you just want to shake them and say, speak up, buddy, come on.
You know, because I think what's fascinating about Luke, the other thing, I was telling Reed this yesterday, I'm like, the thing about I told him, thing about you and Effie is you guys let me nerd out over the characters, which is one of my favorite things ever, because I've lived with these guys in my head for so long. But I think one of the reasons, and so what I love is having these conversations with you guys about where you guys are in the headspace of your characters, and then where I see it, and then it helps me kind of come to where they are really. One of the things I think about him is I think he is so wanting it to work with Johnny, especially in the beginning, that he doesn't want to step on people's toes. And that's, you know, that as we've noticed lately, it's going to begin to wane a little bit, obviously, because he's a little more comfortable. But I think that's why, because my favorite thing about the actual show itself, which for everybody who's watching is written and ready to go the minute we can do it, is there's a scene where you and I are having our first Sunday alone, just us.
Oh, yeah.
At Johnny's place. And Sam is the first one to come in and doesn't like it. And so there's this little dance where she's trying to sit by me and get you out of the way. And it's this thing you guys go back and forth. And I love it because it is Luke trying to be like, hello, get the, get the fuck away from me. This is my boyfriend. And there's a line you say in Together Apart where you say, I will not share custody of my boyfriend.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the early episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Luke has it, but he's trying so hard, to make it work. And of course, one of my favorite things is throwing these people into chaos. And so they're currently in a chaos moment. That's pretty deep. But what do you think about the reaction we've got? First of all, we are voted most adorable, which I love.
Yay, that's awesome.
Isn't it?
That's wonderful. I love to hear that.
Right? People love it. People, the thing that keeps coming up is people love the couples. And of course, this couple would be the king of the couples.
Right.
But what's it like when you hear that obviously people have connected with something that you're presenting? What is that like? Or does that happen to you every time you do a role? And so it's...
No, it doesn't happen to me every time. It does not happen every time. No, I feel like at first it's... I generally am not really great at taking compliments. I tend to blush up and smile and giggle and don't really know what to say other than thank you and how sweet it is. Just because, just not how I was raised to, go on and on when someone's giving you a compliment. Right. But I just think it's very validating for what you're trying to do. And hopefully, you want to make it as endearing or impassioned to connect to someone as you can. And so when someone does have something like that to say, I think not only is it flattering that they like us as a couple and they think it's so cute what you guys are going through and that they've connected that way, but it's validating for what you're doing and, as a performer. And, hopefully it means you're doing it well enough that you get to keep doing it.
And get to do it on, some large scale is the dream. One of the things I find interesting that I get feedback on, first of all, poor Johnny, because he's already ridiculous because he's larger than life. So people worry about Luke a lot. They're always like, Luke is putting up with a lot. Is that? And I enjoy the weird balance of these two characters. But it is very much, this teeter-totter does weigh more on your end than it does. You're having to hold it together. But Luke seems to embrace it. He seems to like you were saying, I think as artists, we are chaos. That's just part that goes with being creative. And so I don't have to stretch a lot because that's exactly Johnny. He's just me times 10. But you get to play this solid... very much the fireman. As Sean called you, the fireman, because he hates you. Is it fun to flex that muscle a little bit and jump into a world where this guy's got it figured out?
Yeah, it's definitely fun. Just because obviously that's not how a lot of us live, and but there is a little bit of pressure to be. You forget. Obviously we are who we are in life. And so as you're doing these scenes and we get comfortable with each other, and there are fluctuations of what's going on, but you're trying to maintain certain core things about the person that you're playing. Yeah. And then sometimes it's just like, wait, I don't think that's how Luke would react to that, or that's not where that inflection should be for Luke. You start to overthink these things, like that's not Luke's delivery. You need to redo that, and then because of the way that we're shooting, it's one long take. So there is no splicing. So it's not like we're going back 2 sentences or, 2 speeches, So I think there's a lot more pressure for stuff like that. And especially to be more on that manly, masculine side in a lower voice register and at all times. And even when you're excited, which is a little not me. But it just definitely takes an adjustment. And then there's the whole physical aspect of having to play a fireman, that has a whole different level of pressure of, all right, got to get on those workouts. Doesn't matter that there's a pandemic. You got to get out to the patio and lift your weights and work out. It just, it's got to be done.
I have to say, I am always impressed by your amount of commitment to playing Luke. First of all, until in the beginning, even though it was all on Zoom, we still only knew each other as who we were playing, as our characters. And then I started getting to know each of you a little more. And I was amazed at that you change. You change mannerisms, you change everything. And to me, I mean, I'm an artist, but I'm probably a writer first. I love acting, I love comedy, I love laughing. But that is a whole level that always impresses me. And we did a scene, it's already out, so people should go back and watch it, where it was basically our first big fight. And you were supposed to be you were already mad at me before we had gotten to the Zoom call, the two characters. Mm-hmm. And I remember that it was, are you there?
Hold on. Oh, shit. Oh my God. It never ends. The trials and tribulations of the Zoom world never end.
Oh, it's true. I was shooting a scene with Sergey and Reed the other day, and we didn't notice because I was busy doing something that someone had called Sergey and knocked him completely off. So we did a whole take where it was just Reed. So I'll do a quick rewind here, and I've got to remember. So I'm always very amazed at the way you commit to a scene, and coming from my world where I have to wear 8 hats, and where I just love writing the show, but Johnny is just very, everything is times 10, but he's never really there a lot in the moment for the reality of it. And so we're shooting a scene. Luke is already mad at Johnny before they jump on a call. This is the first really serious scene you and I shot together. Yeah. And so we go ahead. So we get on Zoom, I hit the recording, and we go to do it. And your whole air about you, so it's not even the lines you're delivering, the air about you, you were so upset with Johnny that it took me off guard, and I felt bad inside. I was like, oh, he's so, and so it took me a take or two to be like, okay, shake it off, because it was so, you for an actor to change the air around them is a great skill, but also I'm like, oh, that's right, this is what acting is. Okay, so gotta get it. So one of the things, I was having a talk with a fellow actor the other day. I wanted to talk about what your approach to a scene is. We know of actors who are method. We know, all of these things we've heard, sense memory, all of these things. Yeah. What's your approach when you are approaching a character in a scene?
I mean, it's different. I mean, I've taken obviously a bunch of schooling and classes and things like that, and all these different things, and I would never say that I'm an expert at any of them, but just kind of knowing of them and picking from them here and there has been helpful. But I think for me, it sounds backward. I just have to read it over and over and over again, like a million times. And that even helps with the memorization later, just because it's already in my head. I know what the actions are generally. And then sometimes I'll break it up into different chunks when I think it's come to a transition. And then I think generally I just try and figure out what the intention is of what I'm supposed to be feeling. Yeah. Especially for Luke now with what's coming up. It really is more, it's less about what he's trying to say and more about what is just kind of bubbling up for him. And so it's really just that. And there are some big, in a scene that we're going to do very soon, he's going through some big emotional transitions, all in the same scene. And so I think that for that one, it's very much about what he's feeling, versus other times when it's more about what he's trying to get across, either to Johnny or sometimes with Sam or the CPR. I mean, poor guy was just, we were just trying to get out some healthy, helpful information to save people. and just couldn't. And it was just, you know, and Luke's so excited about CPR, you know, talk about nerding out. He was nerding out about CPR. And these people were just not letting him, you know.
And to watch Luke in that scene basically just give up. That moment where he's like, oh my God. I enjoy that about Luke because we are all chaos. The 4 main friends are chaos. Luke comes in there and it's just so frustrating for
there needs to be order.
Yes, exactly. And I'm interested, you know, one of the things I like to give you guys are different. I like to challenge the actors as we do things to do different things. And so I enjoy watching the dissection. I love that you will break down a scene and you'll ask me questions about a line. I mean, that it is that important. And to me, the over serious writer side of me is like, yes. And the director inside of me loves that. So those I always appreciate, I'm interested in seeing. I like that we can go from this show, we do the Jane Fonda workout scene, which is ridiculous. Yes. And then we're going to go shoot this very serious scene where Luke is like bearing his soul, which is something he doesn't do, with someone that he doesn't necessarily trust. And I think that's amazing. One of the other things that fascinates me about you is whatever mood you're supposed to be or whatever air you're supposed to be around Luke, you stick to it. So now I know if I write a scene where Luke is going to be angry the whole time, I know between takes you're very quiet.
Oh, yeah. I felt bad about that. That day we were doing that one scene where we fought. Yes. You were trying to chit-chat, and I was like, Jonathan, you got to cut it out. You're going to mess me up, man. I wouldn't say it, but I was just like, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah. And I could feel it. See, and what we were fighting is that part of me is Jonathan, who's like, oh my God, someone's not happy with me. And so you want to make it good. And then reconciling in your head, oh, I know what's going on. You know what I mean? That this is what it is. So I always appreciate that. No one ever sees it, but I title every scene that Leo and I release. And I've been starting to put it in a thing because it's like the one you're going to shoot that's going to be pretty deep is, I call it Luke as a House. And because it is my ode. If anybody knows me, one of my favorite movies is Life as a House with the great Kevin Kline and Hayden Christensen, who Reed might have a huge crush on. Yes. And so what I love is when a writer can take a metaphor and create a scene out of it. You know, we're gonna see a house soon, and this really is more than just a house. It's Luke's manifestation of his hope. You know what I mean? Which is, I nerd out on our show. I love it so much. So just a few more questions for you, sir. First of all, I want to know you're a family man. You work your butt off out there, normally outside of COVID, but even during COVID, obviously. What does your family think about, are they just used to the dad and husband as an actor? I mean, this is what his life is? Or what do they think about it?
I think it depends. A lot of times when they see me in a commercial, it's like, oh, there you are. It's exciting the first time. And then, you know, by the time they see it again, you know, they're just over it. They don't. I have not anymore. I have a 20-year-old now and a 16-year-old. So you're never going to be cool. I don't know if anyone ever has taken young parents aside and explained to them that once they hit 9, 10, you're no longer the coolest person in their whole life. It's basically you're the dorkiest, you know, uncool, unconnected person in the world to them.
You are so embarrassing, Dad. You are so embarrassing.
Yeah. So, you know, they're not rushing to school and say, hey, my dad's in the commercial or my dad's in the show. That's not really a thing. But I think they're excited for the show. Yeah. They definitely are very cautious when they know I'm recording one of our episodes. They check with me before, you know, sometimes if they see me doing things and pulling out the ring light, they're like, okay, wait, are you recording today? Is it the show? Is it an audition? Because then they can gauge it. If it's just an audition I'm recording, then they know, oh, that'll be done in 20 minutes. You know, Don't worry
Right.
about it. Just don't
Yeah.
turn on any appliances and
Yes.
open any doors. But if we're doing a recording for the show, they know they either probably need to leave the house or stick to one section of the house and
Right.
not ask me questions about where things are.
Exactly right. I do my very best to get us to do a scene within an hour. That's always my goal, which I always tell, I'm like, that's not normal. Like, once we hit set, we all know what's coming.
Yeah.
But you try real hard. I respect my actors' time a lot over the years, dealing with certain directors that do not. But it's always fascinating. I always try to make it, but one day we're going to be on a sound stage, and it's going to be what it is in this business. But I love that. So I spent, the good part of a decade doing a radio show. And one of the things is that we got a lot of young actors who would write in or send a little note on Facebook. And they always wanted to know, because we would always interview different TV shows and actors and stuff. So I like to ask you guys the same question, which is, what reality do you wish you would have known way back when you first started all of that might be helpful to somebody who is looking to do it now?
I mean, I would say from a performance standpoint, I never like to be too dark about all of it. I never want to be that bitter voice that people are constantly subjected to sometimes in this work. Unfortunately, you're gonna run into situations where it's not gonna be artistic. It's not going to be lovely. It might border on abusive in some situations, dealing with certain people in the business, casting directors, people like that. There will always be someone at some point who, in my opinion, feels bad about where they ended up and decides they're going to take it out on younger actors or newer actors. I mean, I've seen horrible situations where there are people yelling at, someone who's in their 50s because they're a new actor and they just don't really know how it all works and they're new. And that just sucks. And it's really unfortunate because, coming from a theater background, everything's supposed to be love and, ensemble, and it's the art of everything. And so that's kind of a harsh reality to swallow. And it kind of keeps going, unfortunately. As far as being a man who had to come out and, now is married to a husband and has kids and stuff like that, I don't know that I would change any of it other than maybe I, could have not listened to the negative voices in my head, you know?
Yeah.
That might have been helpful for certain things. I mean, that could be helpful for many things in life.
Yes.
But I'm pretty happy with how all that turned out. And, I think kind of like Luke, you kind of get to a point where you've been through what you've been through and you're just trying to make the best of what all that was and with what you have now. And it's really just about what you're going to do moving forward. And I say that as if I'm really evolved and do that all the time and never dwell in the past over and over again and replay things that I could have fixed a million times. But I mean, I think that's the objective is to really focus on those things. But I don't know. That answers the question.
I am with you 100%. I think it's more about attitude than it is about anything, because people are going to come at you. And I also think not one of us is ever going to have a complete 7-day run of everything's beautiful and happy. But it's it's a mental gym. It's a mental workout. So if you can continue to work through those, to have that, because the only thing that'll make you survive doing this work, I've been doing this kind of stuff for 20 years and I've seen it all. And I'm sure I've got more to see. It's all about the perspective you choose to take from it. It's all about people can only make you feel less than if you give them that power to make you feel less than. The power is yours. So I agree with you. It's all about You're going to go through it all. It's all about how you look at it. You know, like the old cliche that they all tell you, which is you better love it and not imagine a day without it, or else it's not worth it. And
right.
Yeah.
But I do think you can do other things while you're still doing it. I don't, you know, that old thing where you know, if you're just going to do this one thing and you have to do this one thing, I don't think that's I don't think that's a realistic way of living life, especially in this business. And, you know, I will say the one thing that I have learned after being in a relationship for 15 years and having kids is you probably need to warn the people that you're married to or in a relationship with or that you're parenting that, you know, when you're an actor and you're going through these emotional roller coasters or, you know, rings of fire, you know, it's not about them. It's just what you're dealing with to prepare for what you're doing.
Exactly.
So just warn them that you might, you know, be a little, you know, there might be some multiple emotions all at the same time that are unrelated to anything.
Exactly. It might get moody. It just maybe would get moody. Yeah.
Might be a little edgy about something that's unrelated to anything.
Exactly. But it'll all work out. Finally, let me have you tell me what you love, because it's all about this show, of course. What you love about Almost Not Quite and what you hope for viewers to get from it.
Oh, I mean, actually, it's probably one of the things that drew me in the description when I initially found out about the show is that and I'm going to misquote it, I'm sure, but the idea that you're supposed to all have it figured out by a certain age, you know, whether it's how you grow up, whether it's, you know, married by 25 or whether, you know, you have the corner office at 30, you've got, you know, the giant mansion at 40 or whatever it is, you own an island at 25 because you invented an app, whatever. That idea that we think we're so much in control of the universe that we're going to have it figured out by this date. And and even that should even be a thing. You know, I think that's kind of what drew me in because I've very much always felt like I've almost got it. Like it's almost, everything's just almost organized enough. Everything's just about to line up, and then I'll settle and I'll be able to breathe, and there won't be chaos. And you know, it's never happened. And you know, if I listen to good reason, it's probably never going to happen. So I think that is kind of what drew me in to wanting to know more and get to know these people. And I mean, I think it sounds odd, but I think what kind of keeps me wanting to work a little harder all the time on what Luke is going through and the scenes is that he is the outsider. And even though he's kind of infiltrating and becoming closer, you know, Todd and Mark and Sam will always be Johnny's friends first. So with what's coming up, I'm sure, you know, his revelations and things, there might be some, you know, it's never pretty when you have big revelations with your significant other's friends, because it's, you know, if you break up, whatever, if they're no longer friends, you know, it's just a bad idea. So I think that draws me in a lot. And I just think that it's nice to see a group of friends always who love each other, as crazy and as odd as they might be, you know, Mark with all his numbers and, you know, they totally give each other shit, which is exactly how all friends groups are. But it is very real that you do love each other. And, you know, sometimes you're all on the same page, sometimes you're not. And, you know, I think that really excites me and draws me in. Yeah.
Well, I know that me and then Leo, we rarely see Leo, the co-writer, but we are always talking about, it's always wonderful to see you guys, to see what we're able to bring to just it's this much of what the real story is. And so it's fun to have you all join in. So I am thrilled that you're playing Luke, and I cannot wait till we can actually do stuff. We can be out there and do a full 22 minutes instead of a 7. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
And for you guys, finally not have to do a long take all the time.
Oh.
I hear it all the time, but thank God you have a theater background. Really, what was that?
That'll make Mike really happy.
Yeah, oh, so happy. Mike hates it, and so does Jake. So, listen, I love all of the actors, but yeah, I know where the complaints lie. That's what I get. But Effie Cacarnakis, everybody plays the part of Luke the fireman. Luke the fireman Adamos. There's his complete name. But really quick before we go, tell people where I know you have an actor's Facebook page. So plug yourself.
So it's just Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Effie Cacarnakis for all three. Feel free to take a look. All my stuff's up there. I post a lot about the show, which we're all really excited about. So please take a look. Follow the YouTube channel. We hope you love it. We love it. So love us.
Support us. Love us. But thank you so much. You are the next installment of Between the Scripts. And we hope everybody keeps coming back to learn more and more about this fun show. And then my goal is one day some super fan will host this and we can all just go be too busy to be bothered. So thank you, Effie, so much.
Thank you. Thank you.